Hello and welcome to this masterclass. We're going to learn about the Project Management Office, which is a department, one of the most important areas we have in our organization so that we can execute strategy. And I'm going to show you the importance and the future of PMO. We have an evolution of PMOs right now, including agility, hybrid methodologies, technology, artificial intelligence, and much more. So if you want to learn about building strategic change and strategic execution through project management offices, this is the masterclass, and I'm going to explain everything in this session. Before we start, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Professor Mario Trentim. I've been working with project management offices for the last 20 years. And I've been part of multiple organizations, also a PMI volunteer and the CEO of PMO Global Alliance. And it's a great pleasure to work with you during this session so that I can explain the concepts and also bring some practical advice for you to implement in your organization. So here you have our key topics: the introduction to PMOs, definition, roles, and importance. I'm going to explain this in a minute. We're going to discuss strategic alignment using portfolio management and how we ensure our organization is executing our strategic goals, how the strategic goals are linked to the projects into the portfolios. Most important, we're going to deliver value or explain how value delivery systems can be implemented in your organization through the project management office, including governance, standardization, and resource allocation, so that we can be efficient in executing our portfolios and projects. I'm going to talk about the future of PMOs. As I mentioned, we're going to discuss value management office, agility, technology, and other aspects related to this evolution and innovation. At the end of this session, I'm going to provide you a step-by-step guide to design and implement PMO. The first step is to conduct an assessment. Then we have design and implementation. Then we have the PMO delivery, assisted operation, and we are going to do all of this together. And finally, I'm going to give you two important secrets or best practices so that you can ensure PMO success. Is not only about implementation, it is not only about the functions, but we have to conduct stakeholder assessment, engagement, and much more. I'm going to explain this in the end. So the first step, introduction to PMOs. We're going to talk about definition, the roles, and the importance of a PMO. When I started my career in 2001, I was at the Air Force implementing projects, large infrastructure projects. I had this issue with understanding what was the role of the project manager, the role of the project office, and the role of other stakeholders. So now I'm going to explain this to you, and you are going to understand that project managers, team members, you have a project management office in your organization that is going to help you with standards, with tools, with training, mentoring, guidance, and much more. It is very important to understand this. So let's take a look at the definition, roles, and importance of our PMO. So what is a PMO anyway? PMO is a department, a business unit, a centralized structure that standardizes project governance and ensures alignment with organization strategy. So you have organizations of all shapes and sizes. We have small organizations, large organizations. We have virtual organizations with hybrid or remote work. We have in-person work. So depending on the structure you have in your organization, you are going to implement a specific type of PMO or maybe multiple project management offices in your organization. Let's think about an example. Imagine you have a small construction company and you need a project management office. What would be the role of this project management office? It is going to be responsible for standards, methodology, you have templates, the documents, you have training, so that we can ensure our construction projects are going to follow the same methodology. Standardization is very important because once we have a standard methodology, we can collect KPIs, the performance indicators, and we can improve in the project management area. The role of the project office includes supporting project managers, defining processes, monitoring project performance, and managing resources, as I mentioned. When we have large organizations, I just provided you an example in a small construction organization. Imagine we have a large organization. Maybe you can think about technology organizations like Microsoft, Apple, or other large organizations. We may have a central project management office. We call it enterprise PMO, or you have a corporate PMO. And you may have other project offices for specific departments and business units. We call this departmental PMOs. And sometimes we have large projects and we assign a specific team, the project management office, for that particular project. So the importance of a PMO is that it helps in strategy execution, enhances efficiency, ensures consistency through the standard methodology, and drives value across the projects. So we can ensure we have best practices in our organization, we can increase maturity and deliver value. Core functions of a PMO in summary. We have the methodology development, training and support, portfolio oversight, and risk management. And I provided the examples before describing the types of PMOs. We have a supportive PMO providing guidance and templates. It is kind of resources that are available in your organization, but it's not mandatory that you use these resources in a supporting PMO. We have the controlling PMO. Now it enforces the standards. It is an evolution. Usually we start with the supporting PMO when the organization has low maturity. So you start providing some guidance, templates, methodologies, training, but it's not mandatory that you use these standards yet. So it's a change management process. And then we can ensure or enforce the standards through a controlling PMO. We need a large structure for this PMO so that it's going to pay attention to auditing processes. We are going to check monitoring performance and other areas. And we have finally the directive PMO, directly managing projects. The benefits are related to strategy execution. Instead of the other departments and areas managing their own projects, we have a central department, the project management office, responsible for the strategic projects. So these are the three types of PMOs, core functions, and now you already know what a PMO is, its importance, role, core functions, and also the different types of PMOs. Our next step now is to discuss the strategic alignment of PMOs with business goals. The importance of a PMO is to ensure this strategic alignment. Probably in your organization you have multiple projects, and these projects are not always aligned with our strategy. Imagine we have a strategy in our organization. We are an educational organization. We provide training services. We have international courses. And we have the strategic objective that we want to increase revenue or increase market share for next year. And when we think about our projects in the organization, maybe not all of them are aligned to that. We have projects related to learning management system. We want to improve our website. We want to do a lot of different projects. The question we have to ask ourselves, and the PMO is responsible for that, For every project, are we adding value to the organization? Are we helping the organization in executing its strategy? And if the answer is no, we should not be executing that project. So this is what we have as strategic alignment. And how do we do this in practice? The strategic alignment is about closing the gap between strategy and execution. In the execution, we have the projects, we have departments, human resources, sales, finance, operations, marketing, and more. And they are always executing different projects. We have a new website in the marketing area. We are implementing ERP, enterprise resource planning. We're implementing CRM, other software. We have human resources, training, other areas. So in every department, we have their own projects. But are these projects connected to the strategy? Usually they are not, because the departments are paying attention only to their needs and not to the organization as a whole. The PMO, the Project Management Office, is uniquely positioned at the enterprise level, corporate or enterprise project management office, to take a look at everything that is going on the organization related to project management and to program management, and also paying attention to the strategy execution. So to close this gap, the project management office is going to implement portfolio governance. So portfolio management is about selecting, prioritizing, and balancing the most important projects, initiatives, or investments for the organization. And we do that combining portfolio management, value delivery system, and the key actions for alignment. Let's talk about portfolio management. It ensures that every project and every program align with strategic priorities. So maybe you are using balanced scorecard or any other strategic planning methodology, and you have the different KPIs, the key performance indicators, or different OKRs, the objective and key results. For every objective, we should have a portfolio connected to that. So for example, imagine that you have an innovation portfolio in your organization. The innovation portfolio should be connected to the strategic objectives related to innovation. We want to develop a number of new products. Maybe we want to develop new technologies, new business models, whatever KPIs and OKRs we have. This should be assigned to the portfolio, and we have a portfolio mandate or a portfolio charter for the next year so that we can plan ahead the investments. We want also to balance resources, risks, and the benefits. It's not only about choosing the best projects and the best programs. We have also to take into consideration risk exposure, resource optimization, and other aspects so that we have a balanced portfolio that will deliver the best combination of value, risk, and benefits to your organization. And talking about benefits, we need a value delivery system in your organization. So value delivery focuses on the outcomes that drive organizational goals. We want to develop new capabilities in our organization. There is a big difference here between projects and portfolios. When we think about project management, you have a temporary endeavor to build a unique result. You're going to build a house, develop a software system, whatever project you have. And in the projects, we are primarily focused on the outputs. So the output of the construction project is that we have a new shopping mall, or we have a new housing, whatever we are building. So this is the output. And when we think about portfolio, we think about outcomes and benefits. If I build a new shopping center, what am I going to get from that? I'm going to increase revenue, profitability, market share, any other areas strategically important to your organization. So think about outcomes and benefits that drive organizational goals, and then you are going to have this value delivery system in place. So it aligns our investments not only with the output that we're going to deliver today or this year, but with long-term vision and objectives. And finally, the key actions for alignment. Define measurable KPIs linked to business strategy. So for every portfolio, we have the KPIs, and they should be connected to the project selection prioritization criteria. We have to engage our stakeholders regularly for strategic insights. When we think about portfolio management and value delivery, we have to take into consideration internal stakeholders, the investors. We have to take into consideration external stakeholders, maybe regulators, community, our customers, even vendors should be included in the portfolio definition so that we can ensure an ecosystem of value delivery. And continually monitor portfolio performance to adapt the priorities. As you know, when we are implementing and executing strategy, the environment's changing. So we have economic change, social, technology, we have changes in our competitors, whatever is going on in the world, we have volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity that is impacting our organization. And now we are going to talk about how PMOs deliver value through governance, standardization, and resource optimization. I already explained about value delivery in our previous section and how it's connected to the PMO roles and one of the most important functions in project management offices nowadays. And we are going to understand in detail how portfolio management works and how your project management office plays the important role of defining governance, implementing and providing oversight to portfolio management. The first thing is understanding governance. What is governance and why governance is important? Establishing clear roles and responsibilities and the decision-making process. This is a function of your PMO. In some organizations that I worked, we didn't have clear roles and responsibilities. We didn't know if the function manager was responsible, department manager, the project manager. You have a lot of different stakeholders working on the projects and the portfolios. And when the roles and responsibilities are not clear, the projects have obstacles that are growing during the execution. So if you have a clear decision-making process and roles and responsibilities, you are going to deliver projects with success, and also you are going to have fast delivery. It ensures accountability, risk management, and alignment with our business objective. So this is also important because sometimes we have risk exposure that is beyond the stakeholder threshold. And through governance, we can prevent that, and we can also guarantee that we are selecting the best combination of projects. Governance also includes standardization. I already mentioned that project management offices are responsible for developing, implementing, enforcing, and monitoring the use of a standard methodology. Why is that important? When you have a standard, you ensure that you have lessons learned, that you are following the same templates and guides, that you have the same KPIs, and that you can improve based on these performance indicators. So the project management office is responsible for implementing consistent methodology, templates, and tools. Talking about tools and technology is very important nowadays. If you have multiple tools, you are going to have information that is not centralized, and you cannot apply artificial intelligence or productivity tools if you do not have a single source of truth. The Project Management Office is responsible for selecting the best tool, implementing and maintaining, and also provide training to the project managers and teams. The Project Management Office also enhances efficiency, quality, and predictability across projects. This is a result of good governance and standardization. Then we can have predictability, we can provide forecasting, we can help and anticipate any kind of problems we may have in our projects, and you are going to have a much better environment to execute projects. We have resource optimization, very important nowadays. We know we have scarce resources, you do not have resources available for every project, so we have to think about a roadmap, prioritization, and also sequencing. I'm going to start this project and that project and so on. So you create a roadmap. And also resource optimization include internal and external resources. We may have vendors, we may have service providers, we may have outsourcing, we have the internal teams, and not only human resources, but we have facilities, we have equipment, we have different other resources that we have to balance, optimize, so that we do not have inefficiency, and most important, that we can guarantee we are going to have all the resources available on time to execute our projects. So the Project Management Office allocates resources effectively across the portfolio or across multiple portfolios. I have resources allocated to innovation and to other portfolios in my organization in a way that I can track the results and that I can improve the results. And it maximizes utilization, and most importantly, it minimizes conflicts and redundancies. Conflict in resources is one of the biggest challenges we have in our project management execution. You have conflict among departments, you have multiple portfolios, multiple areas, and when you do not have this centralized vision, resource optimization, Project Management Office is responsible for that, you are going to have a high number of conflicts and obstacles in your projects. And finally, portfolio impact. The Project Management Office is not only responsible for governance, standard, and resource optimization before the project starts and during the project execution. The Project Management Office is responsible for the benefits after the project is completed. So, portfolio impact aligns project execution with strategic goals, and it ensures that value is delivered consistently and measured effectively before the project starts through the business case, during the project execution, monitoring and controlling, and after the project execution, we call it benefits realization plan. So the Project Management Office is responsible for this life cycle before the project, during the project, and after the project. And ensuring that we have this consistently and measured effectively value is one of the key characteristics of a successful organization. As I mentioned to you, I worked with multiple organizations in the Middle East, in Europe, in Latin America. I am currently a PMI board member, board of directors of the Project Management Institute, and I've seen many organizations, maybe more than 100 organizations over these 20 years that are not measuring portfolio impact correctly. And what's the end result? You may have successful projects, you may be using the resources, but when you do not measure the impact or the benefits realization after the project, you are not moving ahead with your organizational strategy. Let's think about an example. You imagine that you have a medical company. Maybe it is a hospital, for example, and you have a strategic plan that you want to be the best hospital in the area. It is focused on oncology, for example. And then we have a portfolio for exams, surgeries, for facilities, multiple areas. And you have the KPIs for that. You have alignment, criteria for selection, prioritization, and you are selecting a specific equipment or maybe a specific new product or service that you are going to implement in that project. It is connected to the strategy, and you are going to execute the project. You execute the project. It's completed on time. You have the scope, quality, under budget. So it was a successful project. But when you are going to measure the results 6 months later, you have 0 customers for that particular exam, surgery, product, service. So you have 0 customers. You do not deliver the value, revenue, market share, profitability. In the next project, you do the same. You have the end result, the output, but you do not have any customers. So again, you are failing meeting the business objectives in executing the strategy. If you do not conduct a portfolio impact assessment to discover what is wrong, maybe you didn't understand correctly the customers, the market, maybe the business case was not good, the resources, the execution, something is not going well in the portfolio cycle. And you are going to measure that later, after the projects were executed during the benefit realization plan. If you do not ensure value is delivered consistently and measured effectively, you may have an organization that is successful in project execution, but is not delivering value. And what is going to happen in the long run? In the long run, this organization is not going to exist anymore because you are shrinking in revenue, market share, profitability, innovation, and other areas. You're just delivering outputs and no outcome, no benefit. This is a responsibility of the PMO. So PMOs deliver value through governance, standardization, resource optimization, and portfolio impact. And now we're going to take a look at a suggested project portfolio management framework. You have different frameworks available. So for example, at PMI, the Project Management Institute, you have the standard for portfolio management, and there is a certification for that, the PFMP, Portfolio Management Professional. You also have other standards like PeopleCert, Axelos, you have the management of portfolios and other certifications. But ideally, it always starts with the portfolio definition. The portfolio definition includes portfolio planning, systems thinking, demand management, and approvals. What is portfolio definition anyway? We take our strategic plan, strategic objectives, and then we brainstorm so that we can aggregate the demand. So we have business unities, departments, areas that with their own project proposals. We think about systems and the organization as a whole, brainstorming what would be the best ideas, the best project proposals, and more. And then in the portfolio planning, we have the alignment, and we create business case. We combine the business strategy, the organizational strategy, with the business case for each of the portfolios and each of the projects. Then we have the approvals. The approvals may include multiple steps. Sometimes we have a committee, an investment committee. Sometimes you have a project office that is responsible for that. The approvals include defining the criteria. Then you apply the selection criteria. You are going to shortlist the project proposals. You're going to work on that so that you have a solid business case. Apply the prioritization criteria. Then we have balancing the resource constraints and so on. And finally, we have the approved list of projects and investments. And these approved lists is going for execution, the other cycle, portfolio delivery. So in the portfolio delivery, we have the risk management, portfolio reporting, the benefits management, information management, multimodal delivery, and business change. So what happens in the portfolio delivery is that we have the projects going on. I'm going to talk about it in a moment. We have the projects, we have organizational change, and we have these external influences. That is important to take into consideration business change and change management. We also have to provide oversight to the portfolio, risk management, and benefits. The benefits realization, as I already discussed in this class. And in the information management, we have to ensure that we have lessons learned, that we have any other important information stored in the organization. And for every project, we initiate the project. We have the authorization, the project charter. Then we create a plan, the project management plan. We may have these stage gates like P0, P1, P2, P3. So stage gates. Deliver, monitor and control, and close. And after P3, we have the benefits management in the PMO. So this is an example, and you have to add more detail so that you are going to create a portfolio management process and framework in detail for your organization. So right now, you have learned a lot in this masterclass. We still have some information, the steps to implement a PMO, and the 2 secrets about successful PMOs that I'm going to share with you. But it's important that you take notes, maybe create a mind map, and search for other references in each of these areas. The roles of a PMO, the roles and functions. We already talked about benefits and value delivery system. We already talked about strategic alignment. And now we have a portfolio framework. At the end of this class, I'm going to provide you a list of references. You can visit PMI website, some books, PMO Global Alliance, and other resources that are going to be very helpful in your learning journey. And now let's move to the future of PMOs. As I mentioned to you, the whole world is changing. It's not only project management and project management offices, but your organization, professions, we have technology, artificial intelligence, and the future of PMOs includes agility, flexibility, agile organizations, hybrid methodologies. It also includes heavy use of technology. So we have innovation in technology, and you are going to understand how we can adapt, connect, and also improve our project management offices. So what we're going to do now is the role of the project manager is evolving, and the project offices are evolving as well as a result. It is evolving from manual tasks that can be largely automated. So in the past, when I started managing projects, and I have some projects in the United Nations, for example, or private companies, government, we have infrastructure projects. I use it to walk and take notes on the tasks that were completed. So this was completed, this is not completed. And then I had to input this in a specific tool. Nowadays, we have cameras recording and also assigning tasks, checking status. We have automated systems, we have sensors, we have artificial intelligence. So we're moving from manual tasks that can be largely automated, assigning tasks, checking status, drafting plans and documents, and communications. We can use ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, and multiple other. We have artificial intelligence at PMI available to the PMI members, the PMI AI Infinity. Builds fact base for decision making, so collecting data, taking notes, validating and refining, building dashboards. So we are moving from this traditional world to a new world. Higher value, higher impact activities. So the project managers in the project management office are evolving to implement technology, to add more innovation, and also to include flexibility and new methodologies in our activities. So collaboration and co-creation with our stakeholders. We are not working by ourselves anymore. The project managers in the past, they used it to do everything by themselves, create the plan, assign tasks, and now we can co-create and collaborate using technology like Microsoft Teams, Slack, and other technologies. Inspiring action and performance. We do not have to draft plans and create everything on paper. We want to inspire action and performance in our project teams. Helping the stakeholders to understand important decisions. Stakeholder management was always important, and nowadays it's even more important to successful projects. And strategic thinking and fit. So socialize and lead is the new role of a project manager. In a way, human project managers will be more important. So sometimes we are afraid of technology. We believe that we're going to be replaced by AI, by automated tools or something like this. And I can tell you, I've been hearing this for more than 10 years that we're going to be replaced by technology. And the truth is that we're not going to be replaced by technology. We may be replaced by other people, other professionals that learn how to use technology better than us. So we have to learn technology, new methods, flexibility, agility, traditional methods, the use of artificial intelligence, so that you can add more value as a project management professional. So you can think like this. Imagine when I started managing projects, 2001, we didn't have all these software tools or Gantt charts, Power BI, dashboards, all of this. And you had to do most of the activities using pen and paper, for example. You have to print everything, and rooms like this, everything was printed, and you have the schedule there. Then you had to collect all the information manually, walking around, and so on. Now, we can do this using collaboration platforms, digital tools, artificial intelligence, and more. But we still need team members and project managers. We need project managers because they have this strategic thinking, business alignment, strategic alignment, stakeholder engagement, communication. You have to pay attention to team performance, team building, team morale, and more. So when we use these tools, we learn how to use software and technology, we can deliver more and we can focus on higher value. So the project managers, you should work smarter, and the project management office has a very important role here, because the project management office is going to provide tools, training, standards, governance, helping the organization to improve, to evolve, to increase maturity, and helping the professionals, team members, project managers, project stakeholders to learn more and embrace technology. In the future of work, a paradox is becoming increasingly apparent. The more advanced and pervasive technology becomes, the more important humans are to the equation. Because we bring the creativity, the soft skills, the strategic vision to the software tools. We have to learn how to automate routine tasks, use conversational AI or generative artificial intelligence, predictive systems, autonomous project management, and more. And that's the evolution of project offices. And because of this evolving project manager role, we have to think about other structures that are going to support that. In PMI, the Project Management Institute created a research that we already have improved on the research. This is 2023, but we have 2024. And also we have a new framework that is available in 2025 from the PMO Global Alliance. And the idea is that the Project Management Office is evolving, delivering value through XMOs. What's the idea of XMOs. We have Transformation Management Office, Agile Management Office. We have multiple names, even the Value Management Office. And these are not just names. The different XMOs are tailored to deliver value in a specific environment. So depending on your organizational structure, the organizational strategy, the maturity, if you are more agile, more traditional, you are going to select the best PMO structure. So organizations are on a continuous journey to deliver value. We've been talking about this whole masterclass, how to deliver value, how to define portfolio, how to define standards, the evolving profession of project managers, and portfolios that continually grow in complexity and size. To improve the project outcomes, not only the outputs, the end result, but the outcomes, benefits, the benefit realization, many organizations are turning to value-based deliverable approach. So this value-based deliverable approach, which is a very modern way that we think about portfolio, project management, and also project management offices, is something that we discuss in international programs, like the program we have in California, the California State University, Advanced Topics in PMO Governance. And the idea here is that we focus on achieving a flow of value to the customer. Customer centricity is very important, not only to private companies, but to governments, to non-profits. We have customers or we have citizens, and the centricity in the customer is that the key important aspect to strategy delivery. As organizations shift away from traditional delivery model, the step-by-step sequencing, taking a long time to define portfolio, the investments, now we want more flexibility. We want speed and we want flexibility. But we want governance. It is not a chaotic environment. It is a controlled environment with oversight and governance that we define hybrid methodologies, for example, and a heavy use of new technology, automation, AI, to move from traditional delivery models to new value management systems, the XMOs, or the Value Management Office. And to understand how successful organizations do that, PMI and PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, collaborated on a research. So I'm going to leave this as a reference. You should visit PMI website, take a look at this. You can download it for free and understand the evolution of the Project Management Office. And in our last topic, actually not the last one, we still have the 2 secrets of successful PMOs, but I'm going to guide you step by step in how to implement a successful PMO. The most important steps are defined here. You have to start understanding the current situation, the as-is situation. What is the maturity in your organization? Do you have processes, templates, knowledge? You have training in project management or not? And to what degree you have in each of these areas. So we start with maturity assessment. You can use different maturity assessments. We have available online, you have it on books, you have it on standards. You are going to use questionnaires and collect evidence in your organization so that you can understand the maturity level. From 1 until 5, we have different maturity levels, and we are going to discuss how this works. Evaluate the organization's project management capabilities, processes, templates, tools, and knowledge. Identify gaps and align this with business needs. Maybe you have to improve on the methodology, on the templates. Maybe the tools you are using are outdated. Maybe you do not have knowledge, training, continuous learning process, the lifelong learning of the project managers and the team members. Once we understand this current situation, the next step is to design or to redesign an existing PMO. Design a new PMO for implementation, or sometimes redesign and re-energize an existing PMO. We're going to define the PMO mission, vision, and objective. You can use the PMO value ring framework for that. This is a framework published by the PMO Global Alliance, and there's also a certification, the PMO Certified Practitioner, a valuable professional that is in high demand in the organizations. He is going to be responsible for identifying the functions, processes, tools, and governance models. You have to create a framework and a PMO manual describing each of the roles, each of the processes, the steps, the tools and techniques that you are going to use, the knowledge management system, so that we have consistency across the organization and its departments. Then we are going to define the PMO structure. Is it a departmental PMO? An enterprise or corporate PMO? Do we have a supportive, directive, or we have a controlling PMO? So we are going to select the PMO type, and it could be a mix. We may have a mix or a combination of this, defining clearly roles, responsibility, and the reporting structures, even the reporting templates. Finally, we have to think about implementation. It's kind of a prototype in the beginning. We may define a pilot, and then we have a role-waving implementation. So you have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. It depends on the size of your organization. If we are thinking about a small organization, maybe we can go through all these steps in assessing maturity, designing, implementing, and having your PMO implemented maybe in 3 months. If you have a large organization, complex organization, it may take more time, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, depending on a global scale, if that's the case. So implementation, roll out the processes and tools incrementally. That's a very important secret to emphasize. Do not try to do a big bang, implement all the tools at once, all the processes, more than 100 templates, because this is going to overwhelm the organization. And also, when you do it incrementally, you can get feedback and improve for the next steps. Communicate value and train teams on PMO practices. Not only project teams, not only project managers, but you have to provide training to all the stakeholders in your organization. And finally, the most difficult aspect actually is operation and sustaining. When we define and implement a PMO, and everything is new, we have support, we have the stakeholders, but when we go into the daily activities, the routine, the operations, the sustaining, you have to think about it and be very diligently on a daily basis. Monitoring performance using KPIs and stakeholder feedback. You should have very clear key performance indicators, and you need a dashboard for that, so that you communicate this to the stakeholders and you get the feedback to check if you're really delivering value and how you can improve the project management framework and the portfolio management framework. Also, continuously improve based on lessons learned and changing needs. So in summary, these are the steps, and I'm also give you a reference here for you. So if you go on YouTube and you search for PMO design Trentim, so Mario Trentim is me, here you have a complete step-by-step guide when I'm drawing on the board here each of the steps. In the assessment, you have the as-is situation, the current situation. I explain this in this lesson here, the PMO value ring and all the frameworks. You assess maturity, that I just explained it to you, how you define structure and functions, then adopt and change. Change management is very, very important. We have to promote awareness, plan the pilot, then you have the extension, training, software methodology, implementation, and maintain operations, and sustaining. So if you want to take a look at it, it's available on YouTube. You can search for PMO design, Trentim. You're going to find how to implement a PMO design transition, a project management office. And this is a very interesting lesson. Leave a comment there. It will be a pleasure to connect with you as well on LinkedIn. And finally, our last topic is the best practices for ensuring PMO. So best practices for ensuring PMO success. We have two very important secrets here. So sometimes we think about PMOs and project management only from the technical aspect. You have the schedules, you have portfolio, you have tools, you have techniques, you have risk management, and we are not successful with only that. We need the sponsorship and we need the stakeholder management. So the secret sauce for PMOs, successful PMOs, so the secret sauce is sponsorship and stakeholder management. Here we have two books. This is a book published by PMI, the Project Management Institute. You can find it at PMI website or Amazon.com, or you can send me a message if you do not find the book. Managing Stakeholders as Clients talks about sponsorship, partnership, leadership, and citizenship. So how to implement a PMO and how to implement a value delivery system that is stakeholder-centric. If we do not have stakeholder engagement, we do not have stakeholder support, you are not going to be successful. And there is another very interesting book, The Project Sponsorship, Achieving Management Commitment for Project Success. Alfonso Bucero is the author of this book. I recommend these two books. So the secret sauce, the best practice is executive sponsorship. If we do not have executive sponsorship, we're not going to be able to have a successful PMO. Secure active support from senior leadership. Show value. Explain the importance of project management, strategy execution, the alignment, resource optimization. Ensure the alignment with strategic goals and organizational priorities. Second, and also very important, the stakeholder management that I just mentioned to you. Engage stakeholders early and maintain open communication. You have to engage department, business units, team members, vendors, customers. You have to engage all the stakeholders and address concerns and demonstrate value through measurable outcomes. Have clear objectives. Define the PMO mission, vision, and key performance indicators. Aligned with sponsorship, aligned with stakeholder management. Align goals with organizational needs and the expectations as well. Continuous improvement. We know that the plan is going to change. We have changes on the environment, social, technological, competitive landscape. So regularly review processes to adapt to changing business environments. Gather feedback from your stakeholders so that you can refine the process, refine the practices, and improve maturity. And finally, never forget about value focus. Prioritize delivering tangible business benefits over administrative tasks. So the PMO is not a bureaucracy. It's not only about administrative tasks, auditing, templates, filling the information. No, it is about delivering value. Showcase success stories to improve, to reinforce the PMO's role in relevance and impact. So this is the secret sauce and the best practices for PMOs. Here we have some references. You can take a look at this later. You are going to have this material available to you, but take a look at the global project management job trends. We have trends now in 2025 that are just released from the future job reports, and you also have Pulse of Profession from PMI, the Project Management Institute. I also take a look at the Project Management Salary Survey. We have PMOs here. The Pulse of the Profession, multiple Pulse of the Professions. I suggest that you take a look at artificial intelligence, AI at work, generative AI, and also information about technology. And that's all. It was a great pleasure to be with you in this masterclass. So if you want, you can send me a message, connect with us, IBS Americas, Professor Mario Trentim. I can help you with any other references you need. If you're searching for international programs, certifications, or you just want to ask a question or connect, feel free. You can find me on LinkedIn, and it's going to be a pleasure to be with you in a future masterclass. Thank you a lot, and I wish you the best in your career and profession as PMO and project manager.